Back quickly. You know, we joked in Fort Lauderdale afterward when you were like, they call me like I'll go like next week. And
Yeah.
They called you the next week.
They did.
Like, how stoked were you about that?
Oh, I was so stoked. Yeah, I literally got the call that week. I had hung out with Felice at this promotion that we were doing for It's a 10 hair care, and I had no idea at the time, but then afterwards it turned out that she had injured herself and they needed a replacement, so I got the call.
When you were down there with her, had you guys talked about her opponent, or were you talking about like your fight since you had one coming up 3 days later?
No, like especially after my fight, I was like, yeah, Felice, you're next. You're gonna fucking kill her. Like, you know, like I was really stoked for her. So it was like heartbreaking to hear what happened. Like it's gonna be like a pretty hardcore surgery, but I think she could bounce back from it. Like I think she's determined enough. But like I was definitely ready to jump in and fill in her shoes and hopefully like, you know, have a great scrap.
Did you have any idea at all that you'd want to be back in this quickly? It's like a month.
Yeah.
5 weeks or something like that.
I think when you come out pretty much unscathed, then you have that desire to jump in right away. And for me, it works both ways. Like when I lose, I want to get back in just to prove that I'm better than how I performed. But when I win, I'm like, ooh, that was fun. Let's do it again. So it's kind of like a different higher riding, but like I was still like totally amped to jump back in there to get that high again from winning. And yeah,
you fought
times.
March, you fought April, you skipped May. What's wrong with you for skipping May? Now early June.
Well, technically I fought at the end of April, so it's kind of
May. Sure.
right in the middle.
So I think the record for fights in a calendar year is 5, maybe 6, but 5 probably.
Yeah,
is
no,
that something
I'm
you're going
competing.
after?
Yeah, now I'm competing with Cowboy over there. So yeah, definitely would love to do that.
Would you do that? Like if you could do 6 fights this year, would you do that?
Hell yeah! Like I love being in fight camp. I feel like I learn way more when I have an opponent to train for. Then I'm forced to look at certain parts of my game plan that could be better. So I love being in fight camp. I love fighting. I love becoming more and more familiar with the cage, and I feel like the more that I get in there, the better I'm gonna perform. So that would be awesome.
If you were able to do 6 fights this year, how much of that would have to do with would be contingent on winning all of them? Because then at the same time, you're pushing your way towards that title picture much faster. I mean, how much of it has to do with winning?
I think winning all of them would definitely look way better than losing all of them. But that's the goal. That's the goal.
Does that help your motivation? I mean, winning the last one, did that mean that much more to you to get back in there this quickly?
Oh yeah. It's especially after seeing the last title fight and realizing that, you know, every time someone in my weight class fights, it's a scramble for who's going to be the next contender. So the more that I get in there, the more that I win and that I look good, the more I have a chance of getting that title shot and getting that fight. So I think if I could just blow through this year, just get as many wins as possible, that's definitely going to set me up well for the next year.
Tell me a little bit about Yan and what she brings to the table, you know, what you need to watch for on Saturday night.
Yan's she's a busy striker. She throws a lot of kicks, throws a lot of push kicks. She's pretty good at keeping the distance, at least with the opponents that I saw, but I definitely feel like I'm a lot harder to hit than the other people she's fought in the UFC. And you know, it's a kickboxing match. I have way more kickboxing experience, way more Muay Thai experience than I do MMA. So I think it's gonna be a high level fight. You're gonna see a lot of high level striking, and hopefully I'll get to punch her up and take her down a bit too.
She hasn't lost in about 9 years, I think, give or take. Does that put more motivation in kind of in your head to be the one to do it?
I love beating people who haven't been beat recently. I feel like an opponent who hasn't tasted loss in a long time, sometimes they're easier to break. You know, like they're riding off of that high of never losing or never feeling like they're losing. And I think she hasn't felt that in the UFC yet. Like most of her fights have been pretty one-sided. So I think once she starts feeling that pressure and feeling like, you know, the anxiety of being in a fight and feeling like it's slipping away from you, that could be an easier break than someone who has been like down that road and is like, fuck it, bite down on their mouth guard and keep going. So I definitely feel like that could be an advantage. But, you know, I've never seen her in what do you call it? I've never seen her in a bad spot, so we'll see.
Okay. How do you feel like you want to get it done on Saturday if you had a way to do it?
Oh, I love a knockout. You know, I'm always excited to possibly get one. I think it's going to be a heavy striking battle, so I think there's going to be definitely more chance for it than someone where I would have to worry about a strong double leg or something every 2 seconds. So yeah, I would love a knockout. I would love to just like be as open as I was the last fight and put on a show.